How do you start a small business with a low investment? It's really easy, and I'm here to show you how. And be sure to stay on till the end, because I'm going to show you a small business that will knock your socks off and may be exactly what you're looking for. So how do we think about this? Number one, look at a business where you're not buying inventory, where you're not setting up a store, where you're not setting up physical inventory. That's the kind of business that you want if you're looking for something with low investment. Typically, that's going to be a sort of a service business. A service business means that you're doing something for someone else. You're using your skills, using your knowledge, or you're using the skills and knowledge of other people that you organize to go and do the work. And that's an important distinction because you don't have to be doing the work. There's a lot of money to be made as being an organizer and a facilitator. And just for example, someone that owns, say, a construction company, that does not mean that's the person swinging a hammer or using a blowtorch to sweat pipes. That is not necessarily what they're doing at all. Matter of fact, the person making more money is the person that's organizing the whole thing, that's finding the customers, that's bringing in the employees, that's getting the work done, that's billing it out. They're probably charging another 1/3 profit margin above what they're paying out to other people. So they're making great money. That's why business ownership can be so good. So the key to a low investment though, start off with a service business where you're doing something for someone else, but look for something that can be expanded so that you're not stuck always doing the work yourself. But those businesses don't tend to take large investments because they can be things that can be done from home. And you can make money in many, many different kinds of businesses because people pay other people to do things that they either don't know how to do or just don't want to do. For example, in my house, we have a guy that comes and does all the gardening. We have a very, as you can just see a little bit in the background, we have a lot of greenery on a lot of plants. There are hundreds of them on this property. And because of that, we pay someone else to come and do the gardening. Otherwise, I'd be spending, probably all day Saturday and half the Sunday just weeding this place and pruning shrubs and things like that. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spend time with my family. So we pay money to have someone else do that. Now, in that business, the owner of the business comes along with his crew. He usually has 4 or 5 guys here for the day. And the owner supervises, they do the work, he makes great money. Does he have a lot of equipment? No, not particularly. He has a couple of lawnmowers and some things like leaf trimmers and sprayers and things like that. Not a lot, maybe a couple $1,000s worth of equipment in total. And he probably started out just him and a lawnmower and a weed whacker. And he built his business from there. That's an example of a service business. He's providing the service. And a good thing about his business, it's repetitive. They're here every other week to do all the gardening. So it's a couple times a month. And then a few times a year, they're doing larger projects like spraying the trees and doing things like that we pay extra for. But he's got us as a steady customer. So he sold us once. And now all he has to do is do the business. He has a little route. He's at our house on one day a week and another house the next day. He has probably 24 houses that he works. And he has a really nice little business out of it. And that business can be expanded if he wants to. Because if you get good at what you do, then you'll find that there's more work to be done. In today's world, people are just looking for things to get done and to get done well. The second thing I would say in thinking about your business, I would look at businesses where you're selling to people that can absolutely easily afford whatever it is that you're offering. Because when people can easily afford it, they're easier to sell, they'll just buy it, they pay their bills on time, and it's simpler. For people that are having a harder time affording it, that's when you have problems with collection, that's when you have a harder time selling, that's when people want you to do it for less, and it's just a harder business. Doesn't mean it's bad to serve a poorer clientele, it's not, but it's just harder from a business perspective. And I would try to find a business where you're serving a clientele that can afford to pay you. And stick with the service business. Don't stick in a business where you have to get a bunch of inventory, where you have to open up a store, where you have to have offices. Those are all big expenses, and if things don't work out, you're stuck with those expenses. Either you've spent the money and it's gone, like you've bought inventory, which you now have, or alternatively, you're stuck with a lease that you may have to keep paying on. So that's really problematic. So I very much suggest that the low-cost business of choice is going to be a service business. And let me tell you one that I'm doing, which may be the right one for you, and I'll give you a chance at the end to get involved if you're interested in it. So I do something called Overages. That's a business where when someone loses a house because it's foreclosed, meaning for unpaid real estate taxes or for an unpaid mortgage, when the property sells for more than the amount that was owed, that extra money is available for the former homeowner to claim. Now, I might scratch your head a little and say, how does that work? Well, let me give you an example. Say a kind of average house in America worth around $400,000. That's average in America these days. And let's say that you don't pay your taxes for 3 or 4 years. End of the day, you're probably going to owe between $40,000 and $50,000 worth of taxes between the taxes themselves plus penalties plus interest. So say you owe $50,000. When that property goes up for auction, it's going to sell for about 80% of its as-is value. So if its as-is value is $400,000, it's going to sell for a little over $300,000. So if it sells for $300,000 and you only owed $50,000, that says there's a big gap. There's a gap of $250,000 between what somebody paid for it at the auction versus what you owed in taxes. That money is called overages money. That is extra money that is available for the former owners to claim. And these former owners have no clue about this money. They have no idea there's any money out there. So usually they don't claim it because they don't know about it. Matter of fact, the official government statistic is that 72.2% of the time, the people do not get their money. Now, the government doesn't go to a lot of trouble to find them. They're not like sending the sheriff's deputy out with a check saying, oh, so glad I got a hold of you. Here's your check. Here's your $250,000. That never happens because if the person doesn't come and claim the money, the government gets to keep it. And they like it that way. So they're not going to make any big effort to find anybody. Now, if you go and claim the money, if you put in a claim, you'll absolutely get paid. They don't give you a hard time. They're not terrible people like that. But they're just not going to go to effort to find you. So because of that, we have this amazing business where I get lists of the people that are owed the money and the amount of money that's owed. And then I look up the contact information for the people. That's very easy these days online. And then I reach out to them. I'll typically either give them a call or send them a message through social media or send them a letter and say, hey, there's some money that you could potentially claim. I'm going to give you a call about this. Could you? Or I call them and, there's money you could potentially claim. Would you be interested in working with me? We work for a percentage of what we get. So we don't charge anybody anything up front. Makes it easy to sell. And we do a lot of good. That's the thing I really want to stress about this business. We're dealing with people who've lost everything. They've lost their home. They've lost the roof over their head. It's very traumatic. And we're bringing them a ton of money. And because of that, we get good pay for that. If I bring someone $250,000, I'm probably getting paid $50,000 for doing that. And that work, it's probably 8 to 10 hours worth of work. It's not a lot, but I brought so much value. I brought them $250,000 they otherwise would not have had. So maybe enough for them to get into a new house, might be a small condo they buy, or just to have this huge slug of money. And you can imagine for someone who's just lost everything and thinks all is lost, they're kind of down in the dirt, feeling terrible. And then I waltz along and net of my fees, even they have $200,000 they didn't expect, you could knock them over with a feather. We literally have taken people from being homeless, got them into housing again, got them back into the game of life, and we've made huge differences, and you can be a part of that. It's an absolutely amazing business. And it's something that's easy to start, not expensive to start, and a really good business for many, many reasons. So I'd love to tell you more details about this. Out of time in this video, but if you want to learn more about this, down below I put a link to my introduction to this Overages Business video. Go check that out. It's 15 or 20 minutes. I get a little deeper into it, tell you more about the way this business works. And if you want to get involved, I do teach this business to people that are interested, good people that are good-hearted, that want to help people and make great money for themselves. And this is not an expensive business to start at all. One of the cheapest to start, one of the cheapest to run, but one of the ones that can absolutely grow and flourish to huge full-time business. Absolutely amazing. So this is Attorney Bob Diamond. Out of time for today, but thanks for joining, and click on the intro to the Overages video and I'll see you over there. Bye for now. Click on the link.